Now let's talk interior. And believe it or not, what may tell you more than anything else as far as this goes is your nose. Another thing you really want to avoid when buying a used car is buying a car that's been in any kind of flood. So if the car seems too good to be true, and maybe from an area that might have been recently flooded and smells, well, let's just say it doesn't smell good, it's probably not something you want to get involved with. Also look for things like this on the interior where maybe the glue is separated or things like this. It could indicate that it's had some kind of water damage. Either the window got left open or something like that, or some vehicles that just happens to. But look around in the vehicle for, abnormalities, things that are broken, things that don't look right, and also, as I said, things that don't smell right. Another thing you want to try and do, make sure everything works when you're looking at the interior. Yeah, it works, not so well. I'm not seeing any headrests back here, and I've done a video about how important they are. So we might want to try to track those down. Let's see how this works on the other side here. It does fold down. And as long as we're on the subject of seats, make sure, like this has a little lever down here, if they're power seats, work all the different functions, but if they're manual seats like these, make sure that the seat, every seat that can slide as it's supposed to. Make sure it's got full travel too. Now it looks like there's like a little cubby armrest thing here. I don't know if it's supposed to latch or not, but this one's not. So, looks like there's something here that's probably broken or gone away, but it stays down. It's not popping up in my face or anything. The idea is to go through and make sure everything works, or find the stuff that doesn't, and do that now rather than later, after you've already made your purchase. Okay, now that we've done our visual inspection around the outside, check the spare tire, check for tools, that kind of thing, check the interior, check to make sure that all those things work. Now let's just take a quick look under the hood and check the fluids and check around underneath there. First, does the hood open when you pull the cable? One of my pet peeves, one of the things that kind of gets to me is if the hood prop is missing and there's like a hockey stick or something shoved in there in order to keep the hood up. Once again, the pride of ownership thing. But, I'm happy to see hood props when they're there, that's for sure. Now that we've popped the hood and are looking at the engine compartment, and once again we see those leaves, signs of sitting for prolonged periods of time, take a good look around. Your eyes are going to help you out a great deal here. You can see this engine has quite a few oil leaks on the outside of it. So that's something that is probably going to need to be addressed at one point in time. But it could indicate basically an investment on your part in either time and effort, or whether you pay somebody to help you do these repairs. The other thing to look at is the drive belts. Get a close look at those. These actually look a bit dry rotted, if I'm honest. So anytime you have a engine with a timing belt and you look at the drive belts and they're dry rotted like this, it's a good indication that the timing belt itself may not have been done. So if you have old rotted drive belts and the engine has a timing belt, it's quite possible that it's due for that service. Look for like things that are chewed. The oil, you can see this battery looks kind of old, a little bit corroded. Sometimes we're fortunate enough here to have somebody, pull the date code on here. So this was May of 08, and right now it's 2012. So this battery is about 4 years old. I would say batteries might last 4 to 5 years. So luckily this one's been indicated. So I would say that this car probably could use a battery also. There's the fuel filter there. Look at the brake fluid reservoir. Look basically at everything, absolutely everything that you can see. You might even want to give the cooling fans a spin to see if they spin freely. Sometimes they're locked up and they won't move at all. Obviously don't do this when the engine is running because they could suddenly turn on. But now, let's check the fluids. And we'll start with our best friend, oil. Old oil are just signs that the oil has not been changed. It's probably one of the #1 indicators of what we were talking about, pride of ownership. So if it looks like the oil has not been changed in some time, or the oil looks very old, that's something that you should take into consideration. Take it out, wipe it, and then take a look at it. Now, you can see that this oil is low. It should be up to that second dot there. It's not. It's also very black. So I would say it hasn't been changed in a while. And the fact that it's, well, almost a quart low. Usually this bottom dot would indicate 1 quart. So that would say that we're definitely due for an oil change here. This is power steering fluid. Check that. You see there's absolutely nothing on this at all. There's a cold and a hot mark. Doesn't look like there's anything on that, so we may need to put some power steering fluid in. And here's something about power steering fluid. A lot of these vehicle manufacturers these days have their own power steering fluid, so just make sure you put in the right thing. And a lot of times they'll list on a sticker right here on the reservoir, it's telling you what to put in.
This one here says to use Dextron.
Now I'm going to need to check the transmission fluid, and for that I'm going to have to start the vehicle on this car. Now, keep in mind, I've said it over and over again, that's not how it works with Hondas. So if you're looking at a Honda, you need to check it with the engine hot and the engine off. So the engine needs to be hot and turned off in order to check Honda fluid. But on most other vehicles, you check it while the engine is running. If you're not sure, consult the owner's manual for the vehicle that you're working on. This engine is cold, so it hasn't been run. So I know I'm not going to get an accurate reading on the dipstick, but I'm just going through the motions here to show you some things to check. This would be a good thing to check like after you've gone out on your test drive. We haven't gotten that there yet, but a good time to check automatic transmission fluid is when the engine is at operating temperature, and that's going to happen after you get back from your test drive. But for now, we're just going to check it. Something I don't really like to see. I don't like to see bubbles in automatic transmission fluid. That can be an indication of a bigger problem, but even cold, this has cold marks. This transmission fluid is low and it doesn't look pink, it looks kind of yellow and old. So it looks like it's been some time since this transmission fluid's been changed.
This is the windshield washer fluid reservoir. You may not always be able to see this. Sometimes it's like down up under a fender or something. But it's good to get your eyes on it, or at least try to pour fluid in it, because if this is ruptured in some way, it'll leak out and that'll be an issue. But it looks like this one's intact because it's got some fluid in it. Brake fluid, this stuff should get changed periodically. This stuff looks a little bit old. Not terrible, but it does look old, and being me, I'd actually like to change it. But check it. If it looks really low, if the brake fluid in the reservoir is really low, it could indicate that the front brake pads are worn, or just the brakes themselves are worn. As brakes wear, the level will go down. So if the level's topped off and clean, it could be that the brakes are in good shape.
Here's another thing that we can look at. This actually looks about brand new. That's a real good sign. So happy to see that. So it looks like there's some things here, but it looks a lot like this car just sat for long periods of time. All right, now let's talk about coolant.
If you look at the side of the reservoir, you can see,
or you can look down in there. You can see whether or not there's coolant. It looks like there is. It looks like it's a good color.
It looks a little contaminated though. It's got some floaters in there that I don't really like to see, but that can happen. But don't just check the reservoir, and only do this when it's cold. Do not take radiator caps off when the engine is hot. Just wait for the engine to cool down. Right now, this engine is cold, and even then, I just got a little bit of a squirt there. It's all the way up to the top. If you take the radiator cap off and you see that it's like non-existent, also the radiator cap itself, take a good look at it. I like to see stock caps. I don't really like aftermarket caps, but if I see stock caps, particularly around on Asian vehicles, I'm pretty happy to see them. But look for like any deformation of the seals, stuff like that. So it's something that could indicate that this vehicle's been overheating. That's not a good sign. So if it looks like it's running out of oil or it looks like it's overheated, these are things that should send up some red flags. But it's just looking a little rusty, and it looks like it's been a while since this thing's really had any love.